Weekly Shonen Jump. This is Fonzie.
And this is Hero.
And this is for the Weekly Shonen Jump April 15th, 2013 issue. Have anything to say there?
No.
Of course you don't. Anyways, we start out strong with a chapter of Toriko, and like stated before, it's a chapter of manliness, right?
Maybe.
Where we go back to a battle between Brunch and Elg, who has just delivered a nice blow to Brunch, and stating to him verbally that he's not impressed by his fighting.
The more I look at that panel, it looks more like he was aiming at his crotch more than anything else.
Haha, critical. Of course, Brunch analyzes the situation and finds out that his copying technique may actually be that of mitosis. And in their world, in the Toriko world, it is called the Nuodrake gene, which is essentially a copying gene for healing, like cloning, instead of regenerating cells.
The mitosis looks like a penis.
Well, that's actually a planaria. It's actually an organism.
It still looks like a penis.
Yep, that's the funniest part about it. And he goes into a little bit of dialogue about how his power works, and noting that his electrical senses can actually keep up much greater, and how he actually explains how the one attack that Elk made on him was actually due to the fact that he had already copied himself more than once. And of course he then goes in to fight against him one more time. However, Elg once again verbally abuses him with more dialogue, which in fact he goes for a combination attack with his other clones. However, Brunch leaps into the air with another lightning-based technique and uses a synced-up lightning blast to hit all the Elgs at once. However, Elg is resilient to this and goes in for another punch to Brunch's face. However, he uses once again another lightning-based technique. Boy, this guy's got a lot in his arsenal. Known as the Hollow Lightning Kamachi, which is essentially a lightning body, which then again strikes Elg again, but Elg states that his resistance is getting stronger to electrical attacks, so Brunch's techniques are starting to have less than even an effect on him, even though he's covered in cuts and blood. Yep.
Yeah, just like in every shonen.
And for the third time, Elg is going to abuse Brunch verbally, and yes, gives off a giant rape face of how Brunch doesn't get that his electrical attacks won't
just
work.
don't get it!
And this is where we get that where Brunch's techniques and all of his attacks are actually limited due to the batteries that he installs on his neck, and they're starting to run out of power. And of course, Elg goes in for more hits, knocking around Brunch like a rag doll and using more combination attacks with his clones. We then see that Brunch is on his last limit, and for a fourth time, Elg decides to bash him verbally again, making it known that he is not giving Elg a good enough fight and that will be forgotten. However, Brunch decides to do it for an all-out attack, stating that he is just like an electrical generator, just like how the sun is to heat energy, and how oxygen is to wind. And of course, he goes all Super Saiyan on us, just like how most shonens would do. And of course, he states that this is his secret technique, the Wide Range Cascade Circuit Electric Strike. Let's say that five times fast.
That's just way too long.
Well, we have the Kamehameha, we shouldn't complain.
That name is easy to understand. Kamehameha. It's just so easy.
We'll talk about this.
Wide range cascade circuit strike super ultra mega chocolatey fudge super move.
I'll get back to you on that later. Of course, it seems like this electrical blast is doing much more damage to Elg than first thought before. The reason for this is that Brunch has actually locked into every single cell in Elg's body, constantly electrocuting it. However, this tactic is different since he has now turned all of the cells into electrical generators themselves, and since they don't have the gourmet cells to function well with electricity, are constantly being barraged by millions of volts. So in short, he's going to eternally be electrocuted.
Talk about hell.
Yep, and then Brunch makes a sarcastic comment that he has forgotten Elg's name because the fight was boring. What a badass. As for that, we now get into Naruto, which will be taken over by Hiro.
Okay, now I have to say this chapter is pretty boring because until the end. Because basically, as I was reading this, I just been skimming through it because it's just nothing but talking. Like, nothing really happens. It's basically just Sasuke going like, so that's the way of the shinobi, endurance.
Yeah, and this is after the exposition-heavy Hiroshima explained all about his shinobi past.
And still talk about his brother, which I guess Sasuke, has figured out that it's not the fault of the village. It's not the fault of the village that things are so shitty in the hidden leaf. So Sasuke decides to flip flop and actually help in the war with all the Hokages to beat Obito. And then what was her name again?
Corinne.
Yeah, Corinne comes back.
Yay, Team Hawk is restored!
And you go, okay, there's like this one panel where you just know she's like both yelling at him and being all snuggly with him.
Yep.
Bastard. Bastard. You think such words are new to make me to forgive ya?
I'm still surprised that we put slang in manga. Ya, Y-A.
Okay, you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna give her, sort of like the Harley Quinn voice, because that's what she pretty much is in this series.
Drooling fangirls are awesome.
Hello, Mr. S.
Mr. S. Nice.
And she's still drooling. And probably the best scene is when the Hokages stand on their statue heads. That is awesome.
Mount Rushmore is its finest. I want to see Lincoln stand on his head. Actually, his beard is probably big enough.
They're like, let's go!
Well, after that chapter, we now get into a rousing One Piece back at the Gladiator Stadium.
And Luffy's still looking goofy as ever.
Yep, with a shot of Jose Burgess of the Blackbeard Pirates being successful in the first part of the tournament. Of course, we then cut to Frankie, who's back with the one-legged toy man thing.
And still looking...
Still being annoying.
No, and still looking like a over-muscled Jewish rabbi.
Yep, that seems to be the best look for Frankie at this point. And, of course, the puppet is trying to actually ask... the puppet is asking, why in the world is the fighting going on? And, of course, Frankie retorts and saying, shut up, leave me alone. And even asks who the puppet really actually is.
Shut up, puppet man.
However, we then cut away to a Black Ops Navy soldier who is incognito, addressing to one of his superiors that seems to have infiltrated the tournament. Well,
what is up with his hair?
It's Ichiro Oda. What do you expect?
I'm gonna question every drawing he does.
I'm gonna
continue to do it.
Keep on doing it. 300 chapters.
Yeah.
300 chapters for you to question.
And I'll question with a smile.
Which the superior is actually interrupted by another gladiator who he quickly makes work of. And it seems that the superior is actually a man named Capman, who is a naval vice admiral. That's the
Capman, because he wears a cap.
Yep.
And
that's the joke.
And he also looks like Zangief for the cap. Hello, I am Zangief. I am bad guy.
Yep, that's of course. Yeah, that's how all Russian people talk.
Hello, I am Capman, and I'm a bad guy. Hi, Capman.
Actually, he's a good guy.
Well, he looks like a bad guy to me.
Whatever. We then cut to the blind samurai again, who was in the stands. We then find out, and of course, he is Fujitora, the special Navy admiral that Sakazuki had sent in to check out the Doflamingo situation.
And let me guess, he's like this blind samurai that's like so powerful.
Well, actually, he says for people not to get around him because he may actually be, in fact, too powerful. Kind of lonely life.
But yeah, it's the whole thing, like, the blind samurai. I mean, it's kind of overused nowadays.
Well, this is actually the first time that One Piece has actually used it. Believe it or not.
Yeah, well, other mangas have done it.
Yeah, well, this isn't like other mangas, now is it?
Yeah.
Which proving my point, we turn back to the crew of Robin, Trafalgar Law, Usopp, and of course Caesar Clown, dressed up as Mickey Mouse's retarded cousin. And of course
with a jacket that says gas.
Well, that's actually his old original wardrobe. He is a gas man. He has that Logia power.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they're asking a bartender of how to get to Greenbit.
And Robin is like wearing the shortest short dress ever.
Well, fan service, Ichiro Oda knows how to provide. And of
And
course, the bartender explains that the way to Greenbit is actually through an iron gate, which is actually off limits to civilians due to the fact that it's dangerous to cross due to the population of fighting fish. Fish capable of actually harming and killing people who cross it.
what like giant walking fish that punch people?
We have fishmen! We have
Oh yeah.
Oblong!
Oh yeah. Why do you say fishman and not fish?
And of course, they still decide to go on to it, though to Caesar and Usopp's regret to actually go. Nico Robin actually spots some interesting people. And by I mean interesting, some scary looking guys with a name that impedes fear.
They're like, they look like what's his name? The famous gangster.
Al Capone?
Yeah, they look like Al Capone's men with Amazon native tribe outfits.
Well, actually, we have somebody already made after Al Capone, somebody named Bonnie Capone, or Buggy Capone, if you will. And he's actually one of the 11 supernovas that haven't been introduced just yet in this second arc. Well, these guys are actually something completely different, but also associate with something very familiar. These guys are actually white tuxedoed men who look very outrageous and are called the CP Aegis Zero. Now, people who have already read through the previous arcs know that CP9 was the dangerous organization that blackmailed Nico Robin, and Rob Lucy, the leader of the CP9, was actually able to beat Luffy with physical strength alone. Yep, and these guys are their superiors, which Nico Robin notes that wherever they go, trouble is bound to happen. Of course, we then cut away back to Zoro's adventure to get back his sword. And get back his sword from what? We still don't know, but he seems to be shocked of whoever had stolen it. Whereas we then cut away to Kaimon now. Boy, a lot of cutaways. Where he then confronts a bunch of bandits. But it seems that these bandits know fully well who he is, and are actually the ones responsible for capturing Kanjiro, who is Kaimon's friend, he has come to Doflamingo's kingdom to rescue. We then go to a cutaway of a crossfight.
Sanji in love.
Yeah, scene 5. Sanji in love. Very, very, acceptable. And we come to Crosshairs, where Sanji is actually in, and kicks a sniper straight to the face. And of course, shows off for, the flamingo dancer and all right. And does in note...
He gets some booty.
And done in note form, asks Robin and Nami how they are doing. Well, he, in fact, tells them that he's in love.
And let's read that letter. Dear Nami and Robin, how is the weather?
Where you are.
Where you are. Skies are stormy here with a hurricane of love.
That's right, I'm in love. Fuck.
Understatement of the century.
Well, we then get a cutaway, and once again, another cutaway, to the Straw Hat Crew who are still on the Thousand Sunny. And it seems that we're actually playing a game that seems that it's a game of I'm pretending to be Shogun? Yeah, it seems that
for some reason there's a maid showing a bunch of her cleavage.
Well, I think that's how it's supposed to go. It's like Kings and Queens. He's role-playing game where he's Shogun, where Chopper's a servant, Nami's like a handmaid, like somebody to go to the Shogun's aid.
Oh, that's Nami? I thought it was a different person.
Nope, this is Nami. Could you not tell by the cleavage?
No. No, because almost every woman in this series has the same breast size.
Yep, and that never gets boring. And of course,
Brooke tries to get in on the action.
Yep, but is met with the same fate as always, getting pounded in the head by Nami. And of course, Chopper asks...
And the little kid keeps getting away with it. My God, I gotta know his secret.
Well, he's a little kid. That's how he gets away with it. Secret over, you've got nothing. Anyway, Chopper tries to convince Brooke to play along with Momoshiro's little game so he doesn't get bored. And of course, Momoshiro then asks Brooke to actually play some music, Well, Brooke sort of denies his request, but then starts going into a song literally saying about no thank you. That's the first part of the lyric. You can bury me till you're blue, but I'll always come back to you, the Vitality Corpse.
Come on!
This is truly one of the Soul King's best pop hits of the century. Of course, they are interrupted by knocking and a voice coming from the bathroom, it seems, and all the crew members seem to get scared while Chopper's armed with a gun.
Nice.
But, however, we then cut away. Cut away!
More cutaways!
Back to the arena, where it seems that a captain by the name of Bartholomew, not to be confused with Bartholomew Kuma, let's not remember that, and ends with Catman, who we noticed before, who had laid out many of the others.
In the garbage, all beat up.
By
Symbolism.
Catman.
Symbolism.
And we end off that chapter by getting into One Punch Man, which we take it by Hero.
And now the bald man group started attacking the ninja, and he starts decapitating them.
By the way, we don't know the name of this so-called organization, so we're just gonna go with the Bald Men.
The bald man group.
And it's not gonna like it's matter. Just like Hero said, they've all been, slit throats.
Yeah, and just going through the crowd, like it ain't no thing.
Boy, Sonic lives up to his reputation, doesn't he?
Yeah. Unlike the other Sonic.
Yeah, I particularly like this panel because it's actually a small panel of one guy's head and then connects to the next panel to reveal that his head has just been cut off.
Hey, why is someone suddenly blood?
Oh, so he's drunk while being killed.
and so the head leader, which for some reason his forehead just turned into a egg head. And suddenly his armor has been slightly cut and does a seismic blow on the ground, and the ninja is hanging on the trees. Hey, get down there! No. and then he tries to attack him by just throwing a rock. I threw a rock at him.
But the rock
it was a big rock.
Yeah, but the rock seems to go too far and actually hits.
Okay. For those who remember from the last chapter, there was a building that had like a which Fonzie said it was ice cream, but I said it was poop, and someone said the poop exploded.
I'm blaming 4 kids. I blame 4 kids.
4 kids screwed up everything, and so he still keeps throwing rocks at him, really big rocks, and so he does a evil pedo face.
I'm not calling it pedo face. That was just damn near frightening.
And cover his mouth. And saying like his bad habits are coming back. Going evil?
What habit has he broke? He's been killing and slicing people's necks apart. So how is this not a bad habit?
And so the big bald guy, I'm saying like, I won't lose to a dog like you.
I fight for lofty ideals. Lofty ideals? Does this guy even know what he's fighting for anymore?
Occupy Wall Street.
You're going to use that joke until this arc is finished.
Yes.
Okay.
And so he, again, grabs another big rock. And now he goes all scary ninja mode and becomes like Sonic.
Sonic booms, yes.
Zooms in and he grabs a tree now.
Yep, the bald guy grabs a tree in order to smash Sonic to bits.
And suddenly, kunai to the back of the head, and it appears to have killed him.
But
in reality, we find out that his skin is like thicker than normal. So I guess he just faked his death. So I'll be back for revenge. And then we just cut to.
And then he runs into.
What was his name again? Saitama?
Yep, Saitama. Yeah. Or you can call him One Punch Man.
Yeah. Then he runs into Saitama. Ooh, an easy target!
I think it'd probably be Kindred Spirit,
And now we get to Dragon Ball.
Okay, Goku's dead. Piccolo's gonna take his kid. They all reminisce about what's going on, what's gonna happen. Goku goes to heaven, which is oddly yellow.
I think I got this young man for you, Cinnamon.
And I guess, the devil wears a purple suit. Write the rock stars. Write a song about that.
Isn't he? No. Isn't he God, not the devil?
I see horns. I think devil. He's red skin, horns, devil. Not sure still about the purple suit and tie.
I guess it's just a little joke from Akira Toriyama.
Well, good joke. Then Goku goes in a car and is sent out
into a smart car, which looks stupid. And so he has to go all the way to Snake Way. Hey, why run, Snake? Why don't you just fly there? Whee!
Why didn't he do that the first time?
Well, he did.
But then why did he run back?
Well, because he didn't run back.
Oh, yep. He's had too much. He used up too much power flying and now has to run.
Yep. Yeah, he just got tired.
And now it's time for World Trigger. And leaving where we left off, I and the others had taken care of a bombarding and obviously kamikaze neighbor, and actually went out without no casualties. However, they finally get to Border HQ, and of course this is where Yuma must take his leave, since he cannot actually enter the organization without a natural trigger.
I swear, he's always on his troll face with his puckered lips and his Brock eyes.
That's the best part about him, isn't it? However, then we get to Jin, who is obviously going to be one of our most useful characters, as he seems to be the most popular one around Border, since he seems to be one of the S-rank agents.
How come I have a feeling that he's gonna be like the Aizen of the group, and then
the hair.
Yeah, the hair, and then he starts sexually harassing one of the secretaries.
Hey, it's the whimsical character's job to do such things. And of course, it seems that he is actually ordered to come to a meeting.
Wait, one of the guys looks familiar.
Oh, you mean like Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist?
Yeah, the guy with the glasses looks like Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist. I don't know if it's a shout out or if it's just the art and you just didn't notice it.
I don't know. I kind of like those characters that look the kind of laid back look, when they're supposed to be actually very clean cut and very professional.
And the one in the body armor looks like the main character from Blue Exorcist. The
Rin.
Yeah, he looks like Rin from Blue Exorcist, only more serious.
Well, this is actually a meeting deciding the fate of Osamu's position here in Border.
And speaking of board meetings,
yeah, but the more board meeting is actually much more about that. And of course, the head leader, Masamune, nice name for a leader, actually wants to go into the subject of the almost impossible to trace neighbor doors appearing everywhere. However, it seems that Masafume and Kokyo, I'm guessing these people will not be introduced later on in the story or be important, actually want to discuss the situation having to deal with Osamu. However, these two might be, the next two might actually be incorporated into the story much more. Kintu of the Red Director and Netsuke of the PR Director actually want him gone because, well, if you break the rules with Kinto, you're fired. And of course, Netsuke
wait. You're fired!
Eccentric firing, always a good direction. And of course, Netsuke, who seems to be more about how people view Border, and he doesn't want people to think that they're just, crazy cops or, lone gunmen. But of course, they keep on bashing him, even though he truly did something accomplished. And of course, many of the other members seem to notice that what he did was actually of admirable quality. And even I herself actually gave a good recommendation to him. However, it seems that Masamune feels that people who don't obey the rules should not be within his organization. This guy already gives off that foreboding nature, not only being the head of Border, but having that giant scar down the left side of his eye.
Let's see. I think future bad guy.
Probably. Of course, he then asks Osamu if he would actually do that again. And of course, as we all know, for Osamu being the white knight he is, he would in fact break the rules once again to save people's lives.
A noble thing.
And of course, one of the other members seems to notice this. However, the other two seem to be just completely wanting to get rid of him.
Oh, because of rules.
But of course, they get back on to the question about the unknown neighbor doors, which seem to cause much more collateral damage and much higher pace. And of course, they go to a man named Mr. Karasawa, who seems to be a part of the
He's a
business.
smoker.
Yep, and is
Remember, kids, smoking is cool.
Yeah,
Because he does it.
Yeah, there's no hidden advertisement in this podcast.
I'm actually two of them are smokers. The Hughes guy does it too.
Takumi.
I'm still gonna call him Hughes.
Whatever. Anyways, it seems that both of these men actually want to see Osamu continue doing things. However, they are assigning Jin. However, it seems that they have one assignment that they would like to see why the neighbor doors are opening up so often. And of course, they say that only 46 hours are left before the Triumph barriers go out. And of course, they don't know who can take it on. And of course, the Hughes guy, or Takumi, actually asks if Jin could do it. And of course, Jin accepts completely. And it seems that he wants Osamu to be a part of the team, making that the form of his punishment. Totally disregarding the other two elephants in the room, which, to be honest, I would love to disregard myself. But it seems that he also ensues that he wants to get involved because that's what my side effect tells me. I'm not sure about that, but I'm interested to know. Of course, he lets this go.
Care to explain what this side effect is?
Well, that's something that's going to be explained later. That's how the whole scheme works. We have to wait until that happens. And of course, they begin to head off. And as well, it seems that Jin has a way of getting all the others off his back by showing videos and other information that shows that Osamu has actually made a good reputation for Border by saving people's lives. And of course, it seems that he has Tamiko on his side, who's the head of the business organization. And of course, they head off.
And some of the members, I assume some of the members are still most unorthodox.
Well, actually, you're about to get that true because, of course, it seems that one of the members who stayed behind is questioning Osamu about the previous battle before the invasion at the school. And, of course, ask him whether he did or not. And, of course, Osamu, to hide Yuma, actually says yes. And, of course, then the mysterious border agent goes back to Masamune to explain that it was true that the two neighbors that are called the Marmod, I guess that's their species name.
Yeah.
Were actually cut by Osamu's trigger, which was actually done by Yuma. But it says that the other one, the Bamister, the one that first appeared in the manga, was actually done by a trigger not belonging to Border.
Oh, I think it's pronounced Bamster.
Bamster. Well, whatever these things are, it seems that Masamune is on to them and unsure of what to do with it. And of course, it seems that this Shuji Miwa, who is an A rank, is going to be ahead of this investigation. And of course, due to Masamune's orders, if there is a neighbor involved, he has Shiju to actually dispose of it.
Dum dum dum. And now as we skip through the cross manage because nobody cares.
Wow. Yeah, lacrosse, women's sports. How much do you do? We then get to Bleach, which we left off with an exciting battle with the Black Hollow, Ishin Kurosaki and Masaki Kurosaki. Sorry, not Kurosaki just yet.
Masaki Kurosaki. Try.
Rhymes. Was just in the middle of a battle, and of course Masaki blasted the Hollow's face point blank on the right side.
Badass.
Surprised by this, but it seems that the Hollow is exploding. This is new.
I guess it's a suicide bomber.
I'm not hearing the parts. Anyways, it seems that Ishin has gotten in the way of the blast, and has actually saved Misaki from the wounds.
And this is when the love starts.
Well, sort of. And of course, she's not exactly inclined to help him too much, even though she really wants to help him. It's due to her Quincy code that she can't help Shinigami. But that's of course because Ishin knows of what a Quincy is, and he's actually excited to see a Quincy for the first time.
So he's actually a nice guy, and of course, what is it, like her cousin?
Well, it's technically her fiance, and I'm not going to get involved with that. And yes,
Incest!
you're right. Great. Thank you. Shut up. Ryu is actually there to actually observe what's going on, and of course decides to tell nothing about it. However, back at Evil Headquarters, where Tosin is getting pissy as usual, he actually gets mad about the failure of the Black Hollow. However, Aizen tells him that it's not a failure.
Yeah, he does like the whole like excellent, everything's going according to plan.
Well, dude, this was Aizen, the guy who still smiles after he's in fucking prison. You know,
Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter-ish. And of course, the next day approaches as Eason is
Given a report.
However, he reports that the Black Hollow. However, he decides to dismiss any evidence about the Quincy Masaki.
He's trying to protect her.
And of course, we then do a cutaway to Masaki, who seems to be thinking about the last battle. And it seems that the both of them are thinking about the last battle in continuance. However, then we cut away then to just Masaki, who seems to be talking with her friends and
doing all the girly talk.
But then bumps into a man, and who should that man end up being? Ooh, it's Kisuke Urahara, the man who puts all the puzzle pieces together in the Bleach universe.
I think he's gonna figure something out.
Well, to be honest, I can't wait to see what that'll imply.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna make a prediction. How much you want to bet that he has known about Michigo's heritage this whole time, but just didn't bother to tell him?
You would be right on that, because for any of those who have actually read past Bleach chapters, Urahara has been at the center of telling Ichigo every bit of exposition, knowing of Ryu, the Quincy that would become Uryu's father, Isen Kurosaki, who is now Isen Shiba, and of Misaki, and of the Hollow, and of Aizen. If many of you do remember, he in fact was a captain of the 12th squad before Mayoria became the captain. So he's known about all this for a long time. And of course he has yet to reveal all of his true power and all of the information he has, but it looks like we're almost at the waypoint for that. However, we have less for that to talk about and more Nisekaway, Hiro, how do you describe this chapter?
Okay, it seems like a filler chapter where it's mostly about I forget her name. Her name is so hard to remember because one thing I do not like about this series is the names are not that memorable. So I'm just gonna keep calling her Unchitoge's bodyguard and her boss, which I never explained this, but her boss part of Chitoge's gangsters. He's actually questioning the relationship between her and Ichijo. You know, it wants to look for evidence that the whole relationship has been a fraud, but he just doesn't have the evidence to prove it.
Yeah, so this is gonna be a Sishiro heavy chapter, and I'll remember the name just for the sake. But what is she staring at? And Hiro?
She's staring at these handcuffs that is also explosives. What happens is that whoever's in the handcuffs, if it goes to a certain limit, depending on your heart rate, it explodes.
Don't use these while watching porn.
Yeah. Basically, the whole plan was to get him to put on the handcuffs just so he will die.
However, they don't seem to know how to dispose of them since they were actually asked to be thrown out. But she has different plans for them.
Well, he has different plans, but she doesn't really want to do it. So she tries to get rid of him, but then she runs into Ichijo, and what do you know? The handcuffs suddenly come on them.
Haha, take that, Sashiro, for messing with destiny.
Yeah, so she's freaking out, and the mirror starts to move, so she has to keep herself calm. But she's having a difficult time trying to explain what these handcuffs are. Handcuffs are without him trying to freak out. And so Ichijo gets really pissed. Pissed at the fact that she's not telling him what they actually are, without messing with the meter.
And then, of course, who to stumble upon the scene of them both handcuffed to an explosive.
Now, I might remind everybody that she also has a crush on Ichijo.
But tries to constantly deny it. You know, like the shoujo character in her would.
Yeah. And so they had to get away. Well, they do try to go away, but then they trip and get into...
More ecchi moments.
More ecchi and almost looking like a hentai.
Nice.
And everyone's like, what the frick is going on?
I like the stared faces of, this is normal life in our school.
Yeah. Yeah, a boy and a girl having explosive handcuffs. Oh yeah, that's totally normal.
I'd love to live in that reality.
So Ichijo finds out that the handcuffs is a bomb.
Bomb!
Boom! And so she explains that if they get too emotional, the mirror will move and it'll explode. And so as they walk, she gets water poured on her because of some idiots.
This is a shoujo reader's dream.
Idiot, what if someone's there? There can't be anyone there.
There always is.
Bum, 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 boom. And so they start thinking of the worst thing that could happen, where they had to spend their entire lives this way. And she starts thinking of them being like a married couple, still in handcuffs. Like a real marriage.
Wishful thinking. Not for the best. But of course the water incident causes quite the hijinks.
Quite the hijinks.
And those are two big hijinkses.
Basically, what he's saying is that the water is making her shirt transparent, thus practically showing her bra.
Don't take away my whimsy.
So yeah, she has to change, and he gives her his jacket.
Why can't she just deal with the fact that she has wet clothes?
And the fact she's wearing the bra. He's surrounded by women every day. Shouldn't be a problem.
Whatever. We then cut to probably the most romantic cutaway. What is with the cutaways in this? Too many in One Piece, very good ones in Bleach, but the most romantic cutaway in the history of manga? Seriously, out of nowhere.
And then she figures out that she is actually jealous of her mistress, aka Chitoge, and then the mirror gets too high and it just lets go.
Yep. It seems that the device was actually faulty, which of course Sashiro did not make to mention or remember.
In other words, the whole day was wasted.
Yep. Not the smartest bodyguard in the world, but then again, what are you going to get from a teenage girl who's asked to guard?
I think it was at the fault of her boss as well. Not to mention that the bomb was faulty.
Well, anyways, that is it for the Weekly Shonen Jump of April 15th.
And now we get to Fairy Tail!
With Lucy looking quite the, and I'm going to do this for the boss's sake, quite the queen when all her stellar spirits are right next to her, including the Pisces and Libra, which actually don't belong to her.
Yeah, but hey, whatever.
Consistency!
It actually is going to portray to what's going on in this chapter, seeing all 12 zodiacs. And as we get to the pages, all to the fabulous fan art.
And with Minerva showing off quite the... great. This is the freaking thing we leave off with the anime. We leave off with the swimsuit one.
Yay!
Actually, why am I complaining about this?
Yeah. Why are you complaining about this? This is awesome.
I'm more interested in the fact of why they have the clashing swimsuits. Am I gay?
Stay away from me. And so now we get to where 7 dragons have have come out of the gates so far, and they're like, everyone's like, do something, maybe we should do something.
Well, it's hard to do something when the dragons have when one dragon has nearly annihilated part of your city, and dozens more are about to enter through.
And Lucy tries to close the gate, but she's too weak to actually do it herself. Girl power!
Wow, that's not really saying a whole lot. But then again, Lucy is already a good woman character enough without having to pull a door shut. But of course...
And so the princess decides to actually use her gate keys to create a powerful spell using all 12 gates of the Zodiac.
Actually, that's not the princess. That's Yumura from former Sabretooth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I actually thought it was a princess.
And I'm going to say this, once again, artists seems to love to draw women for some reason. And of course, really? Really?
Yeah, their chests, their breasts are like against each other.
This is... Really? It looks like a giant epic orgasm!
I don't know, but I think he's getting desperate now.
Wait, why am I complaining again? Something's wrong with me.
Well, this is getting repetitive. It is starting to look like he's getting desperate now. Like he has to show fan service in order to keep his audience.
Never has the word Zodiac been so erotic.
I'm not gonna talk about that. And now all 12 gates of the Zodiac are coming to close the door.
Which, in fact, actually ends up closing the door on one of the coolest looking dragons. It's like a saber-toothed cat mixed with a dragon.
It looked awesome.
I'd like that dragon to train me.
But no, he gets cast aside and the gates close. But then
someone's lurking around the corner.
Rogue shows up and goes, but 7 will suffice. As in, 7 dragons are still here.
Great, 7 dragons, and one was, pretty much invincible to begin with.
Which, I have to say, one of the dragons kind of looks like, Igneo.
Yeah.
Kind of.
But looks like a much more... His wings look like that much more of a cape than anything else, and has black, leather-like scales. While one's on fire, one's an earth dragon. One resembles a bird, one resembles that of...
fire.
Alligator scales, one that of a mountain, and another one that looks like it needs, dental problems.
But yeah, but in all seriousness, I might think Hero should draw dragons for Yu-Gi-Oh cards because his designs for dragons are pretty cool.
I really don't want to fight that one fire dragon. That thing looks like it's full of rape.
And so they all gasp into the fact that there are 7 dragons. And they're like, how are we gonna beat them all? And it's revealed, and it's also revealed that Rogue has a secret art of dominating dragons, dragon manipulation magic. Okay, he's just making stuff up as he goes now.
I'm still thinking that Zeref does this crap, since Zeref seems to be the one to control creatures of immeasurable power just by creating them or by creating spells to actually control them. I'm thinking that this is definitely his doing, all his doing.
And so Rogue tells the dragon, do what you please.
But it seems that one of these dragons is Zilcones, one of the dragons formerly seen back in the graveyard in the present. Which is odd, because that dragon is already, like I said, in the graveyard and is already passed.
So does that mean there are 8 dragons now?
No, that's one of the still 7 dragons, but why in the world he's there? Well, this is actually kind of sad, because he in fact still hates humans, but why he does is still unknown.
How much you want to bet that this flame dragon is actually Igneo? How much you want to bet?
I don't want to lose any money to you, but seeing as how I can't resist a bet, we're gonna go $10.
I'm gonna send you all to hell! Ha ha!
Yep, and being that this is the fire dragon, sends most of all the fairy tale members into oblivion.
This is not good.
Sabretooth then takes on the really pincer-looking dragon, while that of Blue Pegasus takes on the rock one, and of course with the rest taking on the other dragons.
So yeah, like everyone's is going to fight the dragons, but they're so hard to defeat. How are we gonna beat them all?
Well,
then Natsu! Yeah!
Right on top of a tower, dynamic pose and all, ready to rumble with 7 dragons.
Ready, and he looks like he's just ready to go Superman on their asses.
This is going to be an awesome next chapter, but this will have to be saved for next week. And so that was the weekly Shonen Jump and Fairy Tail chapter review for this week of April, the April 15th, 2013 issue. This has been Fonzie.
And this is Hero.
And we're signing off.